Hey, I'm Kyle Higgins, writer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as well as Radiant Black, and you're watching Action Activate.
Here we come! There they go! People rise! 'Cause they know we're super soldiers! We got cool clothes! You're real smooth! And you see our pose! Tension! Energize! Let's go! Time to ride! Combine! Crease ties!
Greetings, I am Gazbot here for Action Activate, where we talk about Power Rangers. Who's we? Well, it's me and this fellow.
It's me. It's the big dog. It's been ages since I've spoken to you about Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 2, Part 2.
Episode 13, but now we're on 14. 14 being titled Rafkon Revealed. It's an interesting line I gave. So, yeah, obviously we're recording these back-to-back. This episode also not officially out in the US, but it's been aired elsewhere, and we're talking about it. First impressions.
Like this episode a lot better than the last episode.
I liked this episode better than the last episode.
The thing that watch our last review if you haven't already. But kind of some of the things that elevated the last episode for you, I had those similar feelings this episode, but for grossly different reasons.
Okay. There's a lot. Overall, this episode was better. But you notice I left out the modifier lot. I liked it better because I liked the other one more, not because I like this one less. But what's funny is a lot of the good things were better in this one, but it did have some not so great Buzz Blast stuff.
I disagree.
Well, we're just jumping in. We're jumping in. I like 2 or 3 episodes ago, I was like, have you seen Community? And you said no. Now, that's a weird thing to bring up again.
Yeah.
But Community kind of famously, I forget what season it was, 2 or 3 or whatever, they had an episode about paintball. And it was like kind of a turning point where it figured out what it was. And a lot of people were like, oh, remember paintball? That's such a good episode. And paintball was like a really, really, really good version of what they were doing with the Nerf, which is not fair of me to compare. But the way they made the Nerf this epic, crazy thing, I'm like, oh, this is just like paintball, only not as good, which is super not fair of me. But I can't help it because I've watched paintball like 5 times, and that's what I think of when So I will acknowledge your feelings on the matter. Yeah, I don't know. I can't be objective about it, I guess.
So in the opening, we see that there is a
Now?
Yeah, well, no, this will set up my feelings. Yeah. There's a Jane versus Jayborg Nerf War that's getting ready. And Jane's like, we're going to rock this. We got 2 ringers on our team. They're solid. There's no way we're going to lose. And then they're like, actually, we need the day off. Sorry. And she's like, it's all right. We're not going to fail now. We're just, we're going to make it through. And the thing I loved about this episode is taking out the Power Ranger part, which seems like the dumbest thing for me to preface this with.
Right.
Also, I love the banner on the side of promoting Nerf while they're talking about like, we're going to Rafkon. It
didn't even occur to me that Hasbro owns Nerf. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Hasbro owns Nerf. And what do we always talk about? Geez, I wish Hasbro would just utilize this show as a toy commercial better. Yeah. This has made me, I don't remember the last time I was like, I kind of wanted to shoot Nerf guns. This episode made me want to shoot Nerf guns. Well done, Hasbro.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of my critique comes from just me comparing it to things that I shouldn't be comparing it to. You're right. It was fun. There was nothing. It's not a Ninja Steel kind of moment.
It definitely is.
No, it was fun, and there was nothing offensive about it. Well, there is one thing offensive about it, but anyway.
But it was great. It made me like Nerf.
We cut back and forth. So that's the setup. We're going to get back to that. Then what I love is they're like, we need the day off. And from that, they cut back. They're in the base. The lights are off, and it's got this moon. And it's just like, whoa, this is serious time. And Ion is once again blathering on about how he is the key to stopping Zed.
He is the chosen one.
And the thing is, I'm not like, well, Ion's not my favorite, so like he can't be like, fine, he can be the one, like, but just it's like, come on, dude, stop. Like, it's just not cool. It's like saying I got honor roll. Hey guys, did you know I got honor roll? Yeah, well, I think I did well because I'm on honor roll. It's just like, shut up already, like. But but the phrasing, because somebody was like how, and they were getting kind of annoyed by it too. But they're like, how do you know? Like, what was the phrasing exactly? And the exact phrasing was the key to stopping Zed, which can mean a lot of things, even if 100% true. There's some interpretation there. What does that mean? To me, it doesn't mean you pick up your sword and you strike him down. Maybe you come up with an idea in the heat of the battle. Maybe your Zord is essential. Maybe you have to sacrifice yourself to save Izzy and she beats Zed. It could mean a million different things.
I'm call shotting.
Okay, go ahead.
Say the phrase one more time.
The key to stopping Zed
lies with the Gold Ranger.
Yes.
I think what's going to happen is Zeto's going to be armored up.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for him to defeat Zed, he's going to need the gold dino key and use that with his stuff. And he's going to do this like hybrid power up thing that's going to be awesome to look at.
That is totally believable. Are you getting a lot of noise from my mic?
Not currently.
Oh, okay. I hear like a boom, 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 boom. But I guess it's maybe just me. I can see that. I mean, and that is a specific call shot. I was sort of setting up the more vague, like that could mean a lot of things. You're taking it literally like his key.
Yep.
Which would make sense. And I'd be fine with that. I will agree with the call shot that the key is a literal thing. And something about his key or one of his keys does something. I don't know if that'll literally be him powering up Zeto, although I would like that where he's like his like ego gets in check and it's like, come on, man, he's clearly the better ranger.
Especially after what happens in this episode.
Yes, yeah. And that also, there's a lot of speculation that Zeto will get or someone, they were saying it'd be Ion, but like I like your idea that it'd be Zeto, gets a special suit, like a white suit maybe from not Kaku Ranger,
Kiryu,
Uchu Sentai Q Ranger.
There we go.
Or I think there's a White Ranger also as like a 6th Ranger from Kira Major. So like the idea being like I don't know if that's based on anything other than fan theory, but the idea that like somebody's gonna get that suit and that makes sense. And because it would just be like a new color and it's a suit they have. And then if they ended up going into one of those seasons, then great. They already established that suit and whatever. But yeah, the specific verbiage of it, yeah. I like that.
Like you said too, though, where he's like, "I'm the key," and they're like, "Dude, quit it." He's like, "Look," and then he does the memory, and he's like, "See, I told you it was me. I have to defeat Zed. You guys are a bunch of scrubs."
I like that he showed that, but it further reinforced like that's not what she said, man. Like,
yeah, I know, but I just thought it was funny.
I know, I did too. It was a good use of like just proof, just in case they thought he was,
Yeah.
They talk about going back to Rafkon, and I was thinking, and again, this gets proven later, like. They've been gone so long. Like, would they even recognize Rafkon? Like, would the people like? And as it turns out, there's no one there, and we don't know what happened there. Maybe there are people on another planet.
They're on Terra Venture,
Yeah, but it's like if a human from 100 years ago showed like just 100 years into the future, they'd have a hard time talking to people. They wouldn't understand technology. And they kind of eventually like, okay, people are still people. And I kind of understand that this is a better car and, whatever. But like, go back 1,000 years. 1,000 years, somebody coming here, it would be like they might as well be from another planet. And that's what's going on with them, where it's like, they're not going to, everyone they know will be gone. All the institutions will be changed.
Except for Ion, who immediately acclimated.
Yeah. Well, but I was just getting ready for this. Like, that's going to be crazy. And I was a little disappointed that there was nothing there because I wanted to see them be like, my world. It's like, I feel more at home on Earth. It's kind of, I thought it was going to be one of those things, but, whatever. There's a line in this because they're talking about going to Rafkon as soon as they can because Zed's probably already there. And they're talking about Zolan coming. Did you catch what Zolan said?
I did not.
She said, and this in some ways was the most exciting thing in this entire episode to me, if it pays off the way I want it to. She said, because they're flying in the Megazord and using the key to open a hole in space, right?
Yeah.
That's how they're traveling. It's not a spaceship. She says, I would, but turning this base into a spaceship is a big job and blah, blah, blah. I'll catch up with you later. That's what she's working on. Turning their base into a spaceship. What? That's a throwaway line.
Cosmic Fury.
I mean, I don't know at what point they knew they were doing Cosmic Fury. I mean, they've said it was like 9 months ago, whatever. I don't know the overlap of filming. So I don't know if they were filming this and they said, oh, we're going to do Cosmic Fury. Let's throw that in there. Or maybe it was like all done and they were just did a V over in post.
It's a big ADR thing of like, here's the seeds.
Yes, but that's fantastic because either at the end of this season, we're going to see some kind of crazy spaceship and it'll have been set up that she made it out of their base, which would be great. Or it doesn't pay off this season until, the last post-credit scene or the first episode of the new season where it's like, oh, where did this spaceship come from? Remember, Zolan's been working on it for like 6 months. I was so happy about that. It was such a little throwaway thing, but I'm like, that's so good.
Ninja Steel point to you because I did not catch it. But what do you think would happen if they turned it into a spaceship? It would lead into what season?
Cosmic Fury.
Cosmic Fury.
Is that a thing we're doing now?
Maybe.
You know what? I like that that's your thing. That could be your thing.
You're like, as the person who did the music for Action Activate, I'm going to give you this one.
That could be your little thing there, buddy.
So as we, segue musically onward, Zeto really feels conflicted about this whole thing. He's feeling a type of way where he's like, dude, like, I'm going to Rafkon, man. Yeah. Like, WTF. I do like that they brought back those 2 twin Zords that let them make black holes and jump through space.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And then that, like, it was set up before. Why wouldn't they use it? They did. Great.
Yeah,
totally perfect. And again, the thing of like, why do they need a spaceship if they could do this? But reasons that will become apparent,
Yeah.
And then in the midst of this, actually, hold on, is it this shot? Oh yeah, okay. So they go through the little hole. The problem is I can only skip ahead 30 seconds and back 10, so it's hard to. Okay, no, we don't see it yet. But the next shot, we cut back to Buzz Blast, and I guess this is the thing: the Buzz Blast scene is kind of fun, and especially in the context of comedic scenes of Power Rangers, and this season, it's one of the best. I will agree with that. I guess it suffers from A, me comparing it to another show, which is not fair, and B, it's intercut. Like the beginning and the end, if they just bookended it, wouldn't be as bad. But the fact that it's like, here's this super dramatic scene. We're going back to my planet might be destroyed. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? This whole one's going to make a spaceship. This is crazy. Meanwhile, at Buzz Blast, and it's like, and no one is there but Jane and Jayborg. It's not even any of the Rangers. So I'm just like, I don't care.
I think I know how the conversation went when they were writing this episode. They said, this is going to be a very emotional episode for Zeto. There's going to be a lot going on. We need to put something in the middle. What should we do? And then somebody just stood up, adjusted their tie, and went, it's Nerf or nothing. And that was it.
Yeah, you gave some points for that, my friend. There's a couple
Thank you.
Points fired. Yeah, that was. I knew where you were going, but I didn't think the catchphrase was popping out of your mouth. That was great. Yeah, and it is fun. And there's a lot of like fake stuff that Nerf guns would never do, but that's par for the course for like any commercial or show or whatever. What I do like also is that Jane and Jayborg, I wonder how many of these are CGI. Like a lot of these,
all of them.
You think they're all CGI?
I think they're all CGI.
I do like this move. All right, I'm coming around on this. I think it's the placement in the middle of the episode that makes it weird.
Yeah.
But I like that Jane and Jayborg, who have been, they bicker, but they're clearly friends. For some reason, they're on opposite teams, which seems weird. But I also she said this in the beginning, just character stuff. Even though it feels out of place. In general, it is good that she's like, oh, they have Jayborg as the captain now, so they're going to do good. And like she's like building up her friend as a, what I mean?
Yeah, I took it as, well, we can't be on the same team, otherwise we'd beat everybody, kind of thing.
Maybe.
But while we're still on the Nerf scene, now this scene, I feel like is the tone they were going for Jane and Jayborg the entire series. And this is one of the only times I can think of where I'm like, yes, they can be goofy without being idiots.
You know what? It's tough. I'm kind of turned around on the whole thing because it's tough because it is one of the best Jane and Jayborg things, both in terms of their relationship, in terms of the comedy in the office. 'Cause I have worked in an office where we did have Nerf fights. It wasn't like this, obviously, but it's not that unrealistic, like, and it works and the product placement works. And like, I think it's just that we've had so much bad in Buzz Blast, and this episode has so much heavy stuff going on that I'm way more interested in, that even though this is possibly the best, or at least one of the best Buzz Blast Jane Jayborg things we've had in all 2 seasons, I'm just like, it's too little too late. I don't care anymore. It's like, it doesn't matter anymore, you know? And I think that if this had come the beginning of season 2 or the middle of season 1, I'd be like, this is great. But I think it hit me too late is what's going on here.
Well, didn't hit me too late, but you know, it did hit too late. Those darts right there that are CGI'd.
Yeah. I love the part here. I'm trying to hit it without getting a copyright strike. Oh, they start scanning. I love the part where they're just like in space. Like they look at the cockpit and they're in space. We see this. It's like
Cosmic Fury.
I was so right to let you have that by yourself. I wasn't sure, but you know what? Yeah, no, that's yours, buddy. But I was thinking, how like, man, we've never seen this. Like, yeah, we have in space and Lost Galaxy, but it's been a long time. Because we've seen scenes in a space setting in other seasons, like even Dino Charge and stuff. But like the Rangers going out into space on purpose in a Megazord, it's just like a really specific thing that you haven't seen very often, and it was cool to see it.
I agree. I think this is cool. I thought the scene was very awkward, though, of like, what do you mean there's nobody on here? It's got to be wrong. There's only Zed. Oh, well, the robots don't count. And it's like, all right.
I found it hard to believe that there was all that vegetation and no life. I mean, I guess they're scanning for people, but I'm like, there's no insects, there's no birds, there's no like, you know, like, but I guess they meant people. But
I think intelligent life forms is how I took it.
Sure. Okay. Well, but then this is the scene that was shown during the Hasbro Power Rangers week. Yeah. Where basically they land there and they're like, okay. And this is where Ion's like, I'm going to jump in. And this, honestly, this doesn't bother me. This makes sense. It's consistent with the character they've built up and him thinking like, as much as we bag on him for his earlier kind of stupid stuff he does, like this makes sense. He's got this idea that he's important. It's kind of a wrong idea, but it makes sense with his character. And he's like, okay, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to jump in and, you know, and Zeto being the good leader is like, well, we got to back. This is the wrong move, but we got to back him up, I guess. You know. Like,
yeah, that's the one thing I liked is they did use little lines of dialogue like that to show like, I don't like what you're doing, but I still support you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's happened a few times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I was thinking, actually, I thought this in the last episode too. I've thought this a couple times, like, oh, this is going to be like all American footage because we got Scrozzle and Zed and stuff. But then I realized this scene specifically, like, kind of crystallized it. Every time there's a group of them, the American ones teleport away. And now, I mean, yeah, the leaders leaving isn't that crazy of a thing, but the specific people that stay and go, I'm like, oh, the people leaving must be American footage. The people staying are clearly the Sentai footage. So
yeah,
but it works. It wasn't immediately obvious to me. It took a couple times before it really kicked in that I'm like, oh, that's what's happening.
Yeah, I am curious where Boom Blaster's suit is from. Like why it's like that, because clearly it's inspired by Boom Tower.
Right. I mean,
like in terms of Sentai stuff, I mean.
I assumed it was like this, similar to this, where it's like the same character rebuilt or reincarnated or powered up or something.
If you know, let us know down below.
Yeah, I assumed it was just the same character redone, but if it's a totally different one or wherever, let us know. Also, there was a joke made earlier when they were on the ship. Javi, when they were like, "There's no one there," and he's like, "Maybe they all went on vacation together to another planet," and it's like, it's a weird joke because like the implication is that their entire race is dead.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no, and he's kind of like, I guess I better shut up. But the joke, they played it like, oh, that was a bad joke. I better stop making it. But it's like, there's no good joke to make at that point. Like, and I guess maybe it's that thing of like, let's break the tension for the kids. But I feel like kids aren't going to get how heavy that is. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was weird.
You just kind of move on. Yeah. But on the flip side, this part was cool.
The knee jam.
Yeah.
The jam. Wait, no. What did she say? I got a jam.
No, it was a knee pun.
Oh, did I write it? Hold on.
I didn't.
Knee jerk. I got a knee jerk reaction. What do you mean? I got a name for this jerk. Yeah. And I was fine with that because it's still a bit out of place on like the dead planet, but it was two humans that are brother and sister in the heat of the battle fighting, and it wasn't like she was telling Zeto, you know, something. It was
very Spider-Man quippy.
Yes, I actually did like that. And then, okay, so they're fighting Boom Blaster and Nail Eye. Oh, I was going to write about I had a note about the US Sentai stuff, but I already said that, so never mind.
Yeah. This fight was cool. I like how he used both swords at one point. Like the design of Boom Blaster, as we said. And yeah, I just like, these fights have been pretty consistent and cool. I like how they just seamlessly use the power-ups and armors now. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Like, it's just evolving the story in a good way.
Yeah, and there was another moment of Zeto being a good leader here where Ion's like, oh man, I could have got him, and like everybody keeps running away. What's going on? And Zeto's like, if you didn't run in, we wouldn't have lost the element of surprise. Like, not yelling at him, but like, clearly you've made a mistake here.
Yeah.
Like, and then Ion says something really dumb, but it was like so dumb that I liked it, where it was like, I would have got him if he didn't run away, or no, I would have got him if he didn't get away.
Everything
True,
he was saying, I kind of shrugged. My favorite line in this whole thing is he keeps bringing up that he's the chosen one, and finally he's like, "We know, you've told us 100 times, we know." And, like, getting frustrated.
Izzy, the last couple episodes is like, yeah, it's kind of like she went through the thing with her girlfriend. I feel like she's sort of like got all her stuff straightened out, and now she's just like, what is with? Come on, everybody, like, let's just do our jobs here. Like,
exactly. Now everybody has grown except for Ion, and
I think Ion has grown. He just came from so far away that he still has more growing to do. Yeah,
agreed. Again, loving the Nerf stuff. I love the Trojan horse thing they did earlier too.
I love that too. Yeah, where it was literally a horse, and that's good. That's a good joke because it's one of those things where adults are like, "Oh, it's a Trojan horse," and kids are like, "What's this horse?" And it might be the first time they've seen the Trojan horse thing. You know what I mean?
And it brings up a historical thing from this kid show.
Yeah, because I don't know where I first saw it, but it wasn't learning about the Trojan War or whatever. It was like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or something. And that's They set it up here where Jay Borg's like, oh, she's gonna have to come up here, and she's talking about her plan, and it seems like a good plan. But then Jane like rolls in and blasts her, and it's like, oh, she didn't know what she was doing. But my thought was, I'm like, oh, well, Jay Borg is not an idiot either, and she let herself get hit so that Jane would be overconfident and get shot on the way back. But I thought Jay Borg would have like another player that she forgot about, or some kind of booby trap or something. And then Jane's like, I'm going to dance, and that's all fine, whatever. That's silly. And then it's a robot, one of those robots that don't exist in real life. And she called it like Coach Nerf or something like that. I don't know if this is a reference to something outside the show. I don't remember ever seeing part of it before the show. And and if it was just like a prop and it like got triggered and like fired in a straight line, I could even live with that. But you see it like tracking, firing, it's like But I guess Jay Borg doesn't exist. It's weird. It's weird.
I thought it was good. I kept thinking, like, what other episode have we seen this robot in? And I couldn't think of it.
Is it cheating?
No.
It might be cheating. Because if it's not a member of the team, but it's also not like a booby, like if it's semi-sentient.
It looks like it has a red headband because it's got a little thing on it.
But then but if it's a member of the team, wouldn't Jane have to know? I don't know.
He was covered with a tarp.
Yeah, so it seems like a trick. Like it seems cheating.
Hiding. I think it's fair.
Would it be fair if we had a member of the team that we never told the other team about, and they hid the entire match and then popped out at the end? Would that be fair?
Or they had the number going in, and then they just assumed all of them were out because they didn't see anymore. Like 12 on 12.
So we need more facts before we can decide if this is cheating. But
it's not cheating.
Your point, I've come around almost completely on all of this, except this part I still don't like.
I was fine with it.
But what I like a lot is immediately after, oops, I skipped it, when she's like, good job, and they shake hands, and it's like they're buddies, and it's very wholesome, and it's not like, oh, you got me. And even this ridiculousness,
you could clearly see the orange headband on the robot. It is a member of the orange team.
So what? That doesn't matter. That doesn't prove it wasn't cheating.
Let us know if you think it was cheating or not in the comments down below.
I think on face value it was cheating. There are ways before it started, like you said, that maybe they could have counted him. The other team didn't do their due diligence, and that's on them. But it seems like if you have a semi-intelligent robot on your team and you don't disclose that, that's cheating. Is it possible that'll be the last time we see Jane and Jay Borg? And here's why I asked that. The way they face the camera, like, we're friends.
Nope.
It felt very much like a bye-bye, everybody.
Nope.
You know this for a fact, or you're just suspecting?
I haven't seen anything beyond this episode. I do not think that is the last episode. This is episode 14. If this is like 20 or 22 episodes, there is zero chance we're not seeing Buzz Blast again.
Unless they never go back to Earth.
We've proven that wrong already in this episode.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Nah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
It would be a good ending for them, is all I was thinking.
That's fair.
All right, so we're back to space and Rafkon. And now I like this scene. This is where basically Zeto is like, I don't even know where we are. It's a mess. And Javi, to his credit, remembered what his dad said. He's like, get the high ground and look around. But it's like, I think Zeto, to counteract what I was saying about Javi, is like having like this, I don't even recognize this place. And they show like what he saw it as. Like that used to be
I know New Zealand. I mean, Rafkon is just so beautiful.
It is beautiful, yeah. But he's like looking like he's nostalgic for the destroyed world. Like that's harsh. Like,
yeah.
Like Ion's like, yeah, I remember this stuff. And like, it's also weird. Like, I guess Ion's trying to be like, let's get back to business. Maybe he's in denial, but like, I think Zeto isn't like losing his mind. He's not like breaking down, but he's like, this is harsh. And let's take a minute to think about what happened here. And Ion's like, I guess. Like,
are you telling me that Zeto thinks things through and Ion's like, no, this thing. No, come on.
But yeah, I don't know. This seemed really sad to me because like, he's like, look, that's where the city was, and that's where like the library. And he's pointing to like in its glory, right? That's a normal thing to like wish for. But then a minute later, he's like, and then after the Sporks Wars, it got all destroyed, and he's nostalgic for that because, and I understand this because the ruins of a city that you knew and your civilization you is better than like no trace of it. Because one is like, oh, it was here and it felt like imagine if California like was destroyed, but the buildings were still here and you could kind of see, or it's just flat. It's a huge difference. It's like an erasure from history. So like, I don't know, that was, I'm having a hard time finding the image, but they have an image of the destroyed city that he's still nostalgic for that. I thought it was pretty heavy. I liked it.
I was distracted by Ion being like, no, I need to be Neo. Let's go. I am the chosen one. Hello.
Look at all three of them looking at Ion. They're like, no, dude.
That is how I feel about this entire show.
That should be the thumbnail for this episode.
Him pointing and all three people being like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. But meanwhile, Zed used his Z vision, which it was cool. I don't remember if he used that the last time we saw him, but it felt like a fun program.
No, but it was a great MMPR throwback.
Yeah. And then I like that Scrozzle like had the idea. It's like, I told you, run away and watch, and cool. What I didn't like was that Scissor Eye here, he's like, looks like he's doing a pee-pee dance. And guess what? He is doing
He was doing a pee-pee dance.
And because I was looking at him like, why is he like, that's a weird choice for the suit actor. And then he's like, I want to know where there's a bathroom. I haven't gone to the bathroom since Earth. Okay. Not my favorite joke, but okay. But then Zed's like, you're a robot. You don't need to go to the bathroom. Now I hate it because it's like, what? Is he so dumb he doesn't know he needs to go to the bathroom? Is he making some kind of dumb joke?
We can all agree it was dumb and someone shoehorned it in because they said, you need a dumb potty humor joke. And everybody's like, no, it doesn't even make sense. No, throw it in.
For half a second, I was going to forgive it to Sentai because sometimes there's weird stuff happens in the Sentai footage. They have to justify it. So I'm like, maybe it was some culture, like he's like stirring a pot, or like there's some cultural thing that we don't get the reference. I'm like, no, this is American footage. It's Zed and Scrozzle. Just like they intentionally, why? It was terrible. I hated it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Keep on keeping on.
So they find the console, and of course,
under this moss.
Yeah. Everything's wiped out, but this console's. When they said everything was underground, it was like that makes sense. But like, well, that's not underground, but whatever. I'm okay with that. They had to move the moss.
Let's get rid of erosion kind of timelines and say that you just what is it? 65 million years? Let me dust this off.
Here's the thing: when you get unobtainium and you refine it, it becomes Indestructibilium, and that's what they built this out of. So it's
the thing I find funny is. Wasn't there something they found in the woods that they had to take as much vegetation off of that was like 50 years old from Area 62 or something?
Oh, yeah, it was like a truck that had money in it or something.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
Potato, tomato.
Yeah. These fights were very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I especially like they're all good, but I especially like this one with Pink doing the I forget what key it was, but it's right here. I'm trying not to show it, but like the blast is coming and she sort of jumps and like just keeps outrunning. It felt very anime, like just like I'm barely outrunning it, and then
she is the fist. She is the puncher key.
Crusher, is it Crusher?
Packy?
What is it?
Pachysword, maybe?
It is. I think it is a Pachysword, but I don't think that's what it's called. The Smash Key. The Smash Key. That's what. Yeah. But I like how she lands in the fire. Like it's just very cool looking.
All right, you're right on the verge of copyright. Let's go. Keep it moving.
Immediately gets the smash. I just thought it was really, really cool.
Not it is
a big effect, but like the choreography.
I would love if everyone else could see it too, not copywritten.
Yeah, I know. I also completely forgot about the Freeze Dino armor key.
I did too, and I'm so glad it was used multiple times by different people.
Me too. It's so cool. It's possibly my favorite armor in the series.
It's not my favorite, but I do like it, and I like how Zeto uses it here. Something happens later, and then like kind of everybody, I guess, knows what's available because then Ollie uses it later too.
Yeah, and I like that he freezes them, and he's like, "That's not going to hold him, but we can get out of here." It's like that's a good strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they get this thing up, and Skrull's like, "I need to do some repairs and maybe spruce it up." And again, a joke I don't mind is like, "Put some glitter on it," and it's like, "We have no time for glitter." Like I don't know, that cracks me up. Because that's classic Zed. His underlings doing goofy stuff. Zed has zero sense of humor for that kind of stuff, and it makes it funnier. You know, that's like you call me Radiator Face. That's like, yeah.
I did find it interesting. I don't know if you'll see a screen grab of it, but the front of this has there it is has 3 tubes that are red, yellow, and blue.
Like Beast Morphers,
or like the Morphin Masters.
We've the only Morphin. Well, there's
the emissaries if they get introduced.
Okay, because the one Morphin Master that we've seen more than any other is the green already.
Yeah, I meant the emissaries. Those are from the comics, by the way, for those who don't know.
I keep hearing that noise, and
Is it this?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's probably me shaking. I apologize.
This whole time I've been like grabbing and moving. I'm like, there's something. I don't know what it is, but I don't.
I didn't mean to. Now I know it was me.
Okay, well I feel better. Please stop.
All right.
It's not that loud, but it was. Every time it got quiet here.
You know what it was?
What?
It was the beginning percussion for Cosmic Fury.
Oh damn! I wish I got in on that.
Can you run it back one more time? I'll jump in this time. Count me in.
Here's Blue using it. I'm not sure. Oh no, that's all. I kind of had the Zeto. So Ion finally gets his face to face with Zed that he's like
one-shotted.
I loved it. I loved that he one-shot him. I loved everything about it. Is that Zeto again? Yeah, it's so hard to. But Ion gets one shot. Zeto gets one shot. Well, no, Zeto doesn't get one shot. Zeto hangs in for a minute or two
because he used the shield key.
Yeah, a little bit of strategy, and he's not attacking; he's trying to protect Ion. But I love that Ion gets this sort of comeuppance of like, you ran in, and what do you think's going to happen? Why did you think just because someone said you'd win? And then here it is. That's him. And then also he's like, he's so strong, and Zed's like, yeah, I really am that strong. So I liked it for both reasons. I liked it for like, all right, this guy thinks he's so awesome, learns that he's not, and he's going to shut up about it. But also, it reinforces how super strong Zed is. He's one-shotting a ranger that's got a power-up and everything, and then he takes on Zeto, and it's like, it establishes him as a really credible threat. He's not just a guy that's collecting Sporix and doing what it's like. He can take you out, maybe all of you, and I like that, and of course he won't, but I like that they set it up that way. It was very cool.
Yeah. I want to see a staff battle between Lord Zed and Void King.
Okay, I'll go with that. It makes me think of, I like to make reference. This is a reference. Sometimes I make references that people don't know. This is going to be really, there was a live action Masters of the Universe movie that came out in the 80s. It didn't do that well. It's not well that thought of. But at the end, they ran out of a budget and they had to just sort of film the finale on a soundstage off hours. And there's like silhouettes of He-Man and Skeletor. And it's a sword, but it's a sword and staff. And it's just like, shh, shh. And I could picture this being like that. But the opposite, where it'd be like high budget for Power Rangers, which was low budget for the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very cool. I also, again, going back to Lord Zed not having a good sense of humor. He's like, who's the meat man now? Lord Zed is an unintentional comedic genius to me. I love it. I love it so much.
Lord Zed has a list of everyone who has said something wrong about him, and he's just checking it off. It's like, bet I'm not a radiator face now, brother.
Constantly scrolling, and then it like a line goes through it once he defeats that person. It says it's not true.
It reminds me of that scene from Billy Madison where he calls him. He's like, "Sorry, I was such a jerk to you in high school." Oh, that's okay. And you see the list, and he crosses it off.
Yeah. But the other thing that was weird was before they escape, he shoots another blast and it gets deflected and it takes out Scissorai. Now, I like, again, establishing that Zed took out Scissorai with one blast. That was Sentai. That was Scissorai got taken out somehow in Sentai. Maybe it was the Sentai counterpart of Ion, so they had to find a way that it happened. But it was a little awkward that it's like, woo, shield, and it was like across the battlefield. It was like a 1 in a million shot, but whatever, I guess. It was just a little silly.
Yeah.
And then they get a shield out of nowhere and get teleported back to base. And I think we all are like, oh, that was probably the Morphin Master. And
I love how it takes minutes for them to establish that. They're like, let's take care of Zeto. Zeto seems to be in critical condition. Thanks for teleporting us. And she's like, I didn't teleport you. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. And then who's this coming in? And it's the Green Morphin Master, which sets up the next episode. Spoilers, if you don't want to know. It's called the Morphin Master or the Morphin Masters or something like that.
I thought that was a cool entrance, though.
I do too. It's just, this is weird. Like, if the next season is the end of this incarnation of Power Rangers, okay. But if it's not, it's like, if the Morphin Masters are like the gods of the grid, it's a weird thing. If this continues, how do you continue having like these characters? Like, it's just odd. Like why haven't they stepped in before, and why now?
Yeah,
and
it's very one of those things that is Pandora's box of like, they can exist. It's like in any comic books you read where there's these omnipotent beings, and then the second they intervene, you're like, but the whole point is you weren't supposed to intervene. Now that you're intervening, why are you only intervening now and not later? And it's this big can of worms.
Yeah, it really is. So, I mean, unless it's a thing where like she's the rogue Morphin Master that wasn't supposed, like Latu the Watcher, and then she's gonna be censured in some way. Sorry. I love that they all have their expressions of like, whoa, what's going on? But Izzy wins. I'm trying to catch it where it doesn't fade to black, but everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? She's just like, which is the appropriate response. Like, what is happening? Like, I can't get it. But we're closer to 40 minutes on this one as opposed to the last one. But I'm happy, and I'm very excited to watch the next episode and the rest of the season and the season that follows it.
I'm probably watching the new episode in like 20 minutes.
If I could watch it on a TV, I would, but I'm sick of sitting at this computer right now. but I'll probably watch it tomorrow afternoon, actually.
But
yeah.
So what is your review of this episode?
A-.
I still feel it's a little high, but because of the nerf, I'll let it go.
And part of the reason I downgraded the last episode, I started the A-, went down to a B+, and I was like, oh, you know what? I like the next episode better. That's more of an A-, so that's why I went that way. Yeah.
I would say this episode is a B+. I feel like, to me, my scale for just kind of Power Rangers episodes in general are like, I am wowed in the A range. B, I enjoy it. C, I'm still liking it, but there's some stuff dragging it down, and anything below is just like not good.
Going by that, then A- is perfect for me. Because it didn't blow my mind 100% all the time, but there were moments I was like, whoa, okay, wow, so I think A-, even on your scale, works. I think where it runs into trouble if people try to like track what I rate things, it's going to be erratic. Like if you go to
so inconsistent,
who knows what I'm rating stuff versus what it's always sort of like I'm always against like the last 5 episodes I watched. I'm kind of rating it against. You know what I mean?
This was, I think, the least we've complained about anything in a while.
The last couple episodes, I think, even though there have been some complaints, it's been mostly like, this is great. Here's a couple nitpicks, and even the Nerf thing wasn't that like I never hated it, and then I came around to liking it more. The robot I'm still not a fan of, but
I think this episode we had mostly good and one complaint. The other episodes we didn't really have complaints, but we had a lot of shrugs.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, Pop does this thing with the blueberries. All right.
Yeah, but again, it comes back to with the rating system thing too. Like if we get a stinker episode, it's gonna get a real bad grade.
Oh, it's tanking, dude.
We're like, okay, things are getting better. We're fixing things up. All the bad stuff's going away. We're moving ahead. The plot's moving on. And if all of a sudden there's like a wacky Jane and Jay Borg like invent a new frog that jumps in their mouth and then they spit it out and they fly onto the ceiling, it's gonna like I can't anymore. You know, we can't go back.
I know why you're judging this segment of episodes more harshly than Beast Morphers.
Why?
Because roughly around this time, and I could be slightly off, but if I recall, roughly around this time in Beast Morphers is when we started the like 8-episode saga of crossovers.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Like there was so much good stuff going on. Yeah.
And again, this isn't bad, but anytime you get Metal Heroes crossed over and then Power Rangers crossed over right after that, you're like, okay, well, there's not a bad episode.
Yeah, we had two Power Ranger crossovers. Like we had the mini Dino Charge and then the Dino Charge with Mighty Morphin, and we had Dr. K show up and the metal. Yeah, there was so much going on.
Yeah, what was it?
Chaka?
Was that his name?
I think so. Something.
It was something with a CH.
Yeah, maybe. I don't.
And it wasn't Skyfire because I think
Sheriff Skyfire was from Ninja Storm.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and this one it was Gavon, but like I forget his name.
Yeah, it was something like Chaka, which I think Chaka was like the caveman kid from Land of the Lost or something.
It is. Yeah, that's why I'm so like confused about it. I'm like, I don't know the name.
I don't even know. I feel like I saw that show once when I was a kid, so I don't know how I remember that. How do you remember?
I remember it because of the Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, okay. I don't even know if I ever saw it. Doesn't matter.
It's not a great movie, but it is funny.
Anyway, the next one we'll be doing will be 15 because we do have 15 in hand. We're not going to record it tonight. So the other one is uploading as we speak. I'm not sure when this one's going to go up. I might wait. I might put it up right away.
We said something at the end of the last episode. If it was true, you're welcome. If it wasn't true, we need that extra engagement, guys. Don't forget to. Oh, last thing. I don't know what the numbers are going to be when this video posts, but last time we checked in terms of recording this, we were close to 150 subscribers, which means we're going to introduce a new prize that's viable once we hit 200 subscribers. Right. And if you were the winner of the 100 subscription and you haven't gotten back to us, please do, because your time's running out before we pick a new winner.
Yes, all of that. But until then, I have been Gazbot.
I am still the big dog. And it's Nerf or nothing. See y'all later. Gotcha twice! Out of nowhere. It's like a Trojan horsed you.
You know, it makes me angry in a way that I'd be angry in space. Like if there were stars everywhere and I was just really mad. Like I don't know, how would you describe that? Like a galaxy of
cosmic fury.
It took a long time to get you there.
It did. Well, because all I kept thinking was the Astro Megaship and an angry Andro. So I'm like, what does this have to do with anything?